This is a how to episode on tangible versus intangible assets. Now, throughout these how to episodes that I've done on property division, you've heard me use property a variety of different ways. You've heard me say marital property, separate property, but the first step before you even get into what is marital or separate property is defining whether or not it's a property interest to begin with. And with that, a similar concept is the difference between tangible and intangible assets. But let's go back to the definition of property. And it may be easier, or it may be better, rather, to define what is not property in a Colorado divorce. Well, let's go through some of the list. The Colorado courts have said that a term life insurance policy is not property. And the idea is that you're essentially renting life insurance, but there's no redeemable value. You can't get money back. The insured can't get money back from a term life insurance policy. Similarly, a leased vehicle, same concept. There's really no value when you're leasing an automobile. Same with when regards to, but it's a little bit different. But there is not a property interest in a discretionary trust. Gifts from a family member that haven't yet been received, but if there's a history of gifts, you can consider it as income. But if they haven't been received, you can't consider a gift. It hasn't hit your bank account. It's not a property interest. Social Security benefits, an educational degree such as a law or medical degree, and military disability interest benefits. Now, all of these can be considered to the extent that it matters as what is known as an economic circumstance. So the court might take into consideration, for example, that a lawyer or a doctor has the ability to earn a significant amount of income, but by virtue of their educational degree, and that might militate in favor of the court dividing the property or the estate less than 50% in some sort of disproportionate allocation. But I digress. Let's go to tangible versus intangible assets, because it's helpful to understand in Colorado divorce the difference, because it can, like an educational degree or something that's not property, it can drive what happens in a property division in the court. So let's talk about tangible assets. What do I mean by tangible assets? Well, that's real estate, cash, bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement plans, furniture, household goods, automobiles, livestock, gold, art, wine. These are things that are tangible. Now, we're now getting into a space of financial where you're not actually touching cash, and rarely people even use cash anymore. And that gets into intangible, which is cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is defined as an intangible asset, but then you also have other things such as a franchise or patents, copyrights, mineral rights. And finally, we've got goodwill in a business. These are ideas. You can't really put a finger on them. You can't touch a franchise, the idea of a franchise, but you can go into, for example, a McDonald's or a house, and you can actually touch that. So really, we're getting into some blurry territory when we're talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens for tangible assets. So it's an NFT for a particular tangible asset. You're really blurring the lines. But it's important for people to understand the difference of tangible versus intangible assets. It comes up in business valuations, but it also can really drive the property division by the court. So, for example, if, Eric and Melanie are going through a divorce and their marital estate is valued at $10 million, of which $7.5 million of that $10 million is an intangible asset, it's the value of a patent that Eric developed during the marriage, well, that can really drive what is going to happen, because that intangible asset, that 75% or the $7.5 million patent, can't be divided, really. I mean, you can divide the income, but we'll get into the complications and the potential solutions in our next episode. But for now, it's helpful to understand the base level of a tangible versus an intangible asset.